Happy Thursday. It is Woodbine live time. We are back, as always. 3 thoroughbred races, 3 races from Woodbine Mohawk coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. For now, it's us, Dan Tordjman here with America's Best Racing, Emily Gullikson, Ashley Mailloux. Emily, welcome back to the show. Again, I should give you the formal introduction. Emily, if you don't know, horse player, partner at Optics EQ, and handicapper and analyst at Brisnet. How are you doing tonight, Emily? Do you hear me, Emily? Is Emily frozen?
I think Emily's frozen.
She's never been frozen. What's going on? While she's frozen, Ashley Mailloux, racing analyst and paddock handicapper at Fort Erie Racetrack. How are you?
I'm good. I'm looking forward. I thought the races today, I liked them a little bit more than last week. And just chugging along this week. Hopefully Friday will be here soon enough.
All right, we're going to wait for Emily to get back on. Not sure what's going on. She usually has a very, very strong signal. For whatever reason, she's not in right now, but we'll bring her back in as soon as she comes back onto the feed. As I mentioned, we got 3 thoroughbred races coming up, starting with race 6 at Woodbine, which is a $25,000 claiming race. Non-winners of 3 going 6.5 furlongs on the turf. I thought the pace could get pretty hot in this race. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the screen right here with some of the horses going through your picture right now. The 3-horse Whiskey Victor is a horse who aired it on the front end against Tougher last out before tiring. The 5-horse, your favorite, Conquistador, wired a field of non-2 claimers in his last start. Always shows a lot of early speed. Ashley, did you think this speed would sort of control the day, and did you think ultimately it's set up for a closer?
Looking at this race, I agree with you. I think there is enough speed in here on paper. It's going to be interesting to see actually how it plays out. Because we always talk about horses, their speed versus, I guess, early foot. They're different in my opinion. Some of these horses might have early foot, but they're just not that quick. Mm-hmm. But kind of looking at the tote board right now, I'm not super surprised to see the 5 Conquistador at this price at 5-2. I think the last performance was a pretty big effort and was able to take them gate to wire. Now, this horse was able to kind of launch out of the gate and get that clear lead. I don't think that's going to be the same situation today. Like we've said, there's enough speed. I mean, if you look at the horse directly to this one's outside, the 6 Sandy Bay, pretty quick last time out for a race that was scheduled for the turf, but moved to the Tapeta. The half went in 45-1, which is decent. Mm-hmm. They were kind of motoring in there. Yes, it was only a $15,000 non-winners of 2 lifetime, but this one won decisively and, early on had to battle it out, which is a little different than Conquistador. But, I'm always looking for price. So horses that I kind of looked at underneath that you had to think that the 4, Now We Are 9 was going to close from off the pace. This would be a horse that definitely is in the trifecta. Last time out was at this level at a mile on the turf and missed by 4.5 in the end, but this horse never is well respected, at least in those last 4 starts. This one has gone off at double digits. The smallest price was last time out at 17-1. And then another one I thought was interesting, and the price has really floated up, is a horse that I believe we've talked about before on the show, or at least the connections kind of coming out of Fairgrounds, is the 8 Hurricane Dancer. This is a horse, 4-1 morning line, now at 9-1, was just 11-1. This is another one. Last time out, 5.5 on the Tapeta at that 25,000 non-winners of 2 lifetime, was able to close from off the pace to get up in time. Now you're looking at this race and you're thinking, okay, it's on the turf, 6.5. I think that's a good fit for this one. So that right now to me appears to be probably the best value on the board out of the runners I talked about. But there's other horses in here that have early foot. You mentioned the 3, that's the former Wesley Ward trainee, Whiskey Victor. He's got early foot as well. Last time out, he tired going 7.5, but it was his first start since December. So pretty good betting race. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I agree with you. In fact, the horse I like scratch out of this race. I like the horse down on the rail, Downy Boy. But I'm with you on the 4-horse. Now We Are 9. I thought would represent value. Currently 7-1. I think that's fair value on the horse. And I have more good news. Emily is back. Emily, are you back?
I'm back, yes. It's funny, we were talking about the storms hitting. There's 0 storms here, but apparently my internet decided to go out at the perfect time. But I did turn on, I was trying to watch on my phone, like scrambling like crazy to get everything set up. And talking about this race and talking about some value. And I think, right before you brought me on, you were talking about the number 4 horse. Now, this is the horse that he ran back on July 9th. We actually did the show that night, and we kind of pegged him as a horse that would be a good underneath key. And I just thought, like, going into that race, he was a little bit frost. He was kind of crazy over here. A little bit below for that level.
All sorts of obstacles
This
tonight,
afternoon is actually a lower par, and so he should be able to compete at this level. We're playing with a duck, apparently, at this level. So I kind of upgrade him just in terms of form cycle and overall. That trip itself wasn't the most ideal handling. He was kind of held up off the pace and kind of left with too much to do late. Should be able to race a little bit closer to the pace in here. I know I'm slow to kind of pull up my notes. What were a couple of the horses we talked about? I guess the favorite, Conquistador. The problem.
Downy Boy of it, scratch, and number 3.
Oh,
Whiskey
no.
Victor wears a number 3 shoe.
Oh no!
This race on the EP.
This is where she's gonna, kind
Emily,
of crush the favorite, I think.
Technical issues, yeah. She's gonna start beating up on Conquistador, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We know that setup. We know the tone. We know the affect. we know what's coming. All right, we're gonna give Emily an opportunity to see if she could get that worked out again. Sorry for those of you watching here, but I'll pick up where she left off. I actually put a line through Conquistador because I thought that he was a horse who was going to get caught up in the early speed, and ultimately that would hurt him. I do like Sandy Bay a lot, which is a horse you touched on as well. Got the non-2 win last out in a race that washed off the turf. Beat 2 next out winners there, and he had to work for it on the front end too. They weren't going blisteringly fast, but he took pressure throughout and then sort of drew off. I think he's handy, though. I think he can take back a little bit. It was his first race off a 1.5-year break, so he might just legitimately be doing better. No telling what kept him out that long, but it seems like he's back and he's better. So I was hoping for better than 3-1, but it is what it is, and I think we'll potentially need to live with that price. The other one I mentioned that I like, Now We Are 9. I'll mention Lyrical Note, the 10 horse on the outside, 5-1. I think is just about fair and right about what I expect. This is a horse running in Grade 3 company last year, won a $75,000 optional claimer going 7 furlongs. His form seemed to drop later in the summer and into October, which was his last start before returning from an 8-month break to finish 3rd at this level in June. On the plus side, he made a nice move to finish 3rd despite having to rally from way out of it and coming wide. On the downside, he passed a lot of horses who looked kind of tired and who were chasing the early pace, but we may have that unfold again. I think we might see horses chasing the early pace, which sets up for a horse like Lyrical Note coming from off the pace. And so I thought if you're looking to construct a trifecta here in Exacta, he's one that you got to take seriously. But right now, look, we've talked about it week after week. The beauty of this show is we can look at the board, we can look at the odds, and we can say, wow, that horse is a nice price right now. Hope we can get that kind of price. I think the one that stands out to me is the 4, Now We Are 9. Really good price there. The 8 horse that you mentioned too, off a 4-1 morning line, Hurricane Dancer, did not expect 8-1. So I think that's a nice price there. Could just mention a couple of the longer shots here. The 2 horse 45-1 as a closer, won the non-2 at Fort Erie last out, but was previously 0-for-8 over the turf at Woodbine. Whiskey Victor, another horse, should get caught up in the early speed. I think the result on paper looks worse than the actual race was last out. The horse was in front through 3/4 in 1:10, and then he just kind of unraveled from there as he got inhaled by other horses. But he was there. I mean, he was pretty gutsy, game, and fast last out. And so I think Whiskey Victor is gonna be there for a while. If you're constructing a trifecta here and you're looking for some prices underneath, any of these prices here stand out to you?
I mean, I'm still all over the 4 here. I think 8-1's a great price, and I'll take that. I mean, I know the horse is 15-1 morning line, but I thought that was a really high morning line on this horse based on that most recent trip. I'm with you. I'm disappointed that Sandy Bay is bet down, but I think that's why you're seeing horses like the 8 Hurricane, Dancer kind of jump up in price. So it kind of weighs out, because that's another horse I would use underneath. I don't have that much confidence in Hurricane Dancer necessarily winning, but I mean, you look at the connections and you see Rafael Hernandez aboard. I mean, him and Gail Cox, he only hit there at Woodbine at 16%, but I mean, he's one of the most capable riders there. So I do have confidence from that perspective. Kind of just looking at something with Sandy Bay, you mentioned the 1.5-year layoff, and I always get torn on this from a handicapping standpoint. Typically, I feel like this horse should improve second time out, but there also is always that chance. And I know Emily brings this up a lot about horses rebounding off such a nice performance. I mean, it was a big performance. He won by almost 6 lengths. And I wish she was on right now, because it'd be one of the first questions I'd ask her. She always talks about horses that she thinks can, they're going to fall out of form after such a big effort. Yeah. Now, in his case, I mean, he's had almost a month off, so that's That's fine by me. I think,
Yeah.
You look at his work since then, they've actually worked him twice and both of them have been pretty sharp. So for me, I don't really see that he's going to kind of take a bad step in here and kind of go backwards off that performance.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think it varies depending on the barn, depending on the trainer. If they're a trainer that's known to bring horses back off a layoff sharp, and if they're able to kind of continue to build on that, or if they're not. And so with Martin Drexler in particular, he's 10% second off the layoff. Now, of course, came back with a nice race. Look, if that performance was so, I think, so much better than anything this horse had ever done before, I would say absolutely. Like, I would expect a little bit of a bounce here or some regression. But really, I mean, the horse was running in upper level maiden special weight races, had come close to winning a couple of times, including 7 furlongs in August of 2018. And then once he broke his maiden, he came back in allowance company and didn't run terribly. I mean, obviously, you see that he finished 7th in a field of 8. Was only 4 lengths beaten, though, against really tough first level open allowance company. And so I think off that break, they put him in a spot where I think realistically they just wanted to say, they were being cautious, I think, by putting him in at that level at 15,000 non-2. And they got a great result. And so I think what he'll have to do here is he'll have to navigate more of a trip, and it'll have to be a trip that looks a lot more like some of the previous races where he's sitting off the pace, because as we mentioned, it probably wouldn't benefit him at all to get caught up in an early pace duel.
No, it's an interesting race too, because you're looking at all these horses and where they're coming out of. And, you mentioned some coming out of 40 race, some are coming out of higher class or making their second start off the layoff, but really no one's coming off of a race that was that bad by any means. Like, if you look at that most recent effort, for the most part, I mean, you see that the 3 Whiskey Victor kind of, seems to have tired late and was passed, and that would happen sometimes first off the layoff. But that's probably the most, I guess, I want to say the worst performance that you're looking at when a horse that should now improve second time out, and a horse that, kind of looking at those turf races, this is going to be the shortest that he's gone since that first start, which I think you can draw a line through. And this is a really, really tough handicapping race. I feel like if you do play a trifecta, you always know we talk about exotics.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go in a couple directions. I don't think there's a clear horse for me that I'm going to stand out and single on top in a try here. I think that'd be pretty hard to do.
We don't have Emily right now in video form because she is having some Wi-Fi issues. We do have her in written form, pushing back on my assessment of 6 Sandy Bay and saying, look, possible regression off the layoff, running a top last out with a change in run styles. I could see that there. We pointed to that again. That was definitely, he ran that race a lot differently than he'd run previously. And obviously the result was very positive, but it was, a maximum exertion race as well. She does point out lots of red flags with the 3 horse, who we've touched on a couple of times, probably why you see that price at 4-1 off the 7-2 morning line. With Whiskey Victor, she says excessive layoff lines, should have run back already. So, probably a little concerned with the time off, given and now that the horse came back, as we mentioned, kind of really fell apart late in that last race. Now
Right.
Takes a drop here in at this level. So Emily looking at that as a potential red flag with the 3 horse Whiskey Victor.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Her kind of opinion earlier too on Sandy Bay. What did she think? And she thinks the back step could be what happens here.
We've got more from Emily coming in now. On Lyrical Note, the 10 horse capable to improve, second off with added ground. Value questionable at 3-1. I agree. I liked when I saw 8-1 on this horse. Now there is a scratch again of a horse that was probably going to take a lot of money, but 3-1 is not the price that I necessarily wanted. The 8 horse, the one that we talked about a number of times, you brought up earlier, Hurricane Dancer. She doesn't like what she's seeing on the board here at 8-1. And as you can see on the bottom of the screen there, let us know who you like. We do see people watching. We see you out there like every week. We appreciate you joining us. Let us know who you like. Who are you betting here? We want to know how you're betting this race, who you're betting. I will put up, I put together a pick 3 ticket as I've done previous couple of weeks. Here's my pick 3 ticket. We'll start here. I'm 4 deep. And I did end up using the 3 horse despite some of those concerns. The other 3, 4, 6, and 10 would be my top 3 choices. And then in the next race, I use 4 and 7. It's going to be Matinee for Rachel Halden, Stevie Bayan up, making the third career start, and I think potentially an opportunity to improve there. And then like a little bit of a, not necessarily a price, but a horse making second start to lay off Native Prince. And then I've got a couple of horses in the last, including a Price, who's my favorite long shot play of the night. The 7 hasn't hit me yet. I think she could run a huge race on a big flash drop from special weight level down to maiden claiming in the last. But we'll get to all that in a little bit. We will now watch the 6th race, our first race of the night here on Woodbine Live. If you are in Canada, just a reminder, you can watch the races on Racing Night Live on TSN. If you are in the United States, you can watch Racing Night Live 6 to 8 every Thursday night on America's Best Racing's YouTube channel. And keep us up here for your second screen. You can follow the races. You can bet with us. You can let us know what you think. Comment, question, poke fun at us, whatever you want to do. Do it. This is the place for it. So, well, look, I can't ask Emily to do the race call here, so I think it's you. I think I'm gonna have to send it your way.
And be like, hey, I'll take one for the team and do it myself.
I could say, you know what I could also do? I might be able to get Robert Geller to do the call. Let me see if I can unmute this, and let me know if you hear anything.
I can hear it right now.
As they break,
you hear it?
Yeah.
Sandy Bay just
all right,
in front.
let's listen to Geller do it.
Through is Conquistador to go straight to the lead from Whiskey Victor on the inside, then Hurricane Dancer. Now we are 9 just in the center. And on the outside goes Sophia Slugger up to 4th spot. And Trudat towards the back early with Uno Champion. Lyrical Note is last. Sharing the lead, Conquistador and Sandy Bay by a length. Hurricane Dancer, Sophia Slugger, and Trudat making ground around Whiskey Victor, who got back a length and a half. Now we are 9, Uno Champion. Last of all is Lyrical Note. Conquistador striding out in front, a half mile to run. 3 parts of a length to Sandy Bay. 1.5 to Hurricane Dancer on the inside, Sophia Slugger. A break of 2 to Trudat. Then came Whiskey Victor. Now we are 9 starting a run from Uno Champ. And last is Lyrical Note. It's Conquistador stepping clear nicely as they corner. Conquistador by 2 lengths to Sandy Bay. Hurricane Dancer, Sophia Slugger. And coming home down the outside, Trudat. And now we are 9. Then Whiskey Victor. Conquistador's lead is about a length and a half. Sandy Bay giving chase. And right down the outside, now we are 9 is chiming in from Hurricane Dancer. Conquistador from Sandy Bay. Sandy Bay comes alongside Conquistador. They battle it out. And Sandy Bay's hit the front. And Sandy Bay is coming away from Conquistador. And down to the wire, Sandy Bay is the winner. By 2 lengths, Conquistador. Now we are 9. I
know you were hoping that 4 got up.
Actually, I played a try, and I ended up using the 2 as well. I'm not even making it up for 3rd. So, yeah, I actually used all long shots for 3rd on my ticket.
Oh, yeah. So, look, we had one of the people chime in here. They did a $2 try 6 over 4, 5, 9, 10. They hit it, and that's going to pay pretty well, I think. I mean, look, obviously, the 6 horse took some late money there. Actually went off as the favorite. A little surprising because the horse was kind of, floating around that 4-1, 5-1 price, and then kind of got bet down a little bit, but went off favorite. And then the 5, Conquistador, that pace duel never really developed because for whatever reason, the 3 horse, I didn't see what happened. You could take a look. The 3 horse never went out. So Conquistador was loose on the lead. And if you bet Conquistador, you're probably feeling pretty good. Let's see. Do we have Emily back? Emily.
Hi, I think I'm back for good, but fingers crossed.
Your assessment. What did we just see right there?
I was like watching very spotty, but it just seemed like kind of an honestly run race. I don't know. We're going to have to see it. Yeah, it definitely made the trip a little bit easier on the front end, getting away with that soft opening quarter with a 3 kind of missing the break and a couple others kind of grabbing. But, yeah. Pretty fair result.
Yeah. So, and I will say a horse that we all sort of touted here, the 4 horse, Now We Are 9, I thought ran a pretty nice race, all things considered, given the fact that there wasn't that. I mean, they didn't go slow, but I mean, there was a loose pace setter, and really the top 2 finished 1-2. The only horse that really made a big move from the back was Now We Are 9. And if you pay attention, the head-on will show it to you. There's a bit of bumping here. You see the 9 come out into him a little bit. So the horse took a couple of bumps, and I noticed this while I was watching it live, and that certainly slowed down his momentum. I think he probably gets up for second.
I don't think it cost him. I think he
gets up for second. I think he gets up for second. I mean, look, he misses second by what? He misses it by half a length?
Was it that close?
Oh, it was pretty close. He gets up there. Yeah.
It was pretty close. I'd say 3/4, half a length, maybe.
Maybe I would say the ground lost more than the bump, but
well, look, yeah, a combination of factors, but the trip didn't help him at all. I mean, it was not you know, going wide and also taking that bump certainly didn't do him any favors.
The biggest thing with him, I mean, having to go wide, I just, you know, his trips don't really pan out for him perfectly. But like we've talked about this, and you know, Emily, I think you brought it up, right? On the July 9th show, this horse was in, right? And just the trips don't unfold perfectly, but he still runs his race just every single start. I mean, and, you know, Dan said, you know, this is the only horse that really came from out of it. The same with the 2, Uno Champ. They were at the back, so.
Yeah, I can't believe you used that 2 on your ticket.
Well, okay, so this is what I ended up using. I actually used underneath for 3rd in it, the 2, the 4, and the 8. I liked the 8 for underneath. I didn't think the 8 could win. But kind of looking at the 2 and just knowing the performances, yes, they're at 40, but seeing that 2 turn 7 furlong race last him out, pretty nice effort to win that easy. You know, I don't think it was necessarily the toughest allowance I've seen on the turf there. And yes, the numbers from whatever handicapping perspective you use aren't great, but when you know, bet in Canada, you always have that nice option of the 20-cent, you know, increments. So for me, you know, a 40-cent ticket ended up costing less than like $9. So that's pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. And now I'm eagerly awaiting the replay of this race, so me and Emily can settle this.
Me too. I'm watching in spots, so I'm actually leading to you. Normally, I would be on this and like be full in, but no, I was just saying more in terms of the trip than the brush cost him positionally. I think that had more impact.
I agree with Emily.
Yeah, I also, I mean, if you look at kind of where the 6, I think, and the 5 are, but definitely the 2 all seem to be inside. So we've seen that over the past few weeks with those inside lanes being just such an advantage over this course for whatever reason.
So we've got 2 more races coming up from Woodbine. We then have the 3 races from Woodbine Mohawk coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. Will be regular here on this show every week. It's Robert Reid Jr. He's actually at Mohawk tonight, so we'll hopefully get some good ambient sound of the horses going by, and you know, well, I was going to say people screaming and throwing losing tickets, but that's not going to happen because there are no fans there. But, unless Robert's doing it, which we don't discourage. So we've got him coming up at 7 o'clock. We'll dig into some of the racing at Mohawk with him and Emily, with him and Ashley rather, and. Speaking of Emily, because we've consumed so much air here, Ashley and I over the past little bit, we'll let you set up the 7th race as we await the replay here of the 6th race.
Sure. Not kind of waiting for a board, but we can kind of get into it a little bit in terms of the race. So we'll go to the inner turf. It's an 8 furlong race. So this is 2 turns on this turf course. I'm going to guess that looking at kind of the early, the double money, that the 8 is going to be your favorite here. Hard and sweet. And in terms of this horse being like, he's fine for turf in 2 turns, value is going to be a question. I mean, it was a dominant win, but that field was really soft at Tampa that he won. And I know it looks really smashing on paper, but kind of visually, it's not as great as it looks. So I just think he's going to get kind of bet off that and could create an opportunity. Current favorite at 5-2. Create an opportunity. Just looks a little bit short. He's favored in the doubles, but the 3 is the favorite in the pick 3 and the pick 4 right now. Currently your second choice on the morning line. This is another horse like I talked about with the 3 in the last race, just in terms of those excessive layoff lines. It's not really what you want to see. He had some trouble at the start last time out. There are some positives that he's protected here. Just again, kind of my overall concerns with him in terms of value. Making his first start against older, and then also doing so around 2 turns. You have those unknowns. So when you have those unknowns coming in, you want to make sure you're compensated in some way on the board. board.
Stepping clear nicely.
Kind of outside of that, I mean, the horse that to me, when I'm kind of handicapping this race, and I think I did this like before the morning lines went out, I thought the one looked kind of like a standout in this spot, and was 12-1 morning line, which I thought was a little bit crazy, and I'm not too surprised or put off by the fact that he is 7-2 right now. I still kind of think that's fair. Going back to last season, he kind of ran at this condition on October 18th. And kind of getting back to that effort, getting back to the turf. First time out this season was sprinting. There was a delay to that race, probably a race he just needed. And then last time out, heavily washed out. So something I want to look for here, because that's not something that's characteristic for this horse. Again, I can go back to his very first start. That's nothing I've ever seen on this horse, maybe one other time. And of course, just getting back to the turf in 2 turns here, keying off that one race. So that's kind of where I'm leaning against those other horses that I think are just going to be a short price in here.
So this is a rare occasion where the first couple of horses you mentioned, I don't have at all, and they were just a couple of horses that I decided that I'd play against, even though I assumed they would take some money. And I'll mention who I like in a moment. I do want to give Ashley an opportunity to kind of go through her selections. I do like Lions Golden Heart though, and that was a horse that I used underneath. And I also have in my pick 3 ticket, I believe. No, maybe I don't. I didn't use the horse in the pick.
I don't think you do.
Yeah. Anyway. So that was my third choice. I gave it away. If you've seen the pick 3 ticket, you know who my top 2 choices are. And so I'll get into that in a moment. Ashley, let me ask you before you tell us who you like. What do you think about the pace in here? Who is the speed in here? Is it the 6 horse Free Speech? That's one who showed good early speed last out, sprinting, maybe best suited to get to the front here. And then Lakeside Park is another one who has shown some early foot in his best performances. So I don't know. I thought the pace in there is a little murky here.
Yeah, it is murky because I think this is the sort of race where I do think some horses maybe aren't going to run to the form that we see on paper just because it is kind of wonky. I mean, you mentioned Free Speech. This is the horse that for me kind of sticks out as having, I would say, not even just early foot, but has speed. Even last time out, I understand the horse wasn't on the lead at all, at least when you look at the run line and watch the replay. But I mean, this horse was towards the front, and you kind of can see that. Even the start 2 back, I know it was on the dirt at Hastings, but was forwardly placed. So that's probably where I would say I see speed. You mentioned Lakeside Park. I mean, this horse hasn't really shown early foot in those last couple starts. You saw early foot going a mile and a 16th, but this was more of trying to control the pace. I mean, it was quite respectable. It was easy, 24-2, 49-2, and still couldn't hang around then. But you did see that speed in that second start. Now,
way back,
the 8 last time out. This is a horse I just want to mention. I agree with Emily. Horse is 3-1. I don't love this horse. I mean, seeing the horse, it was a maiden 16. You'll be like, oh, well, it's scheduled for the turf and it was moved to the dirt. It was still a big field. That really means nothing to me whatsoever. And that this horse won by a lot. Looking at it, I think Emily said it the most. It wasn't this great performance. That's the great thing about watching the replays when you have time to do so. Mailman must be here late. He's like my little guard dog. So I think this horse is definitely beatable. My horses that I looked at the 4 Matinee, and I believe this is the other horse that you like, the 7 Native Prince. Those are the 2 that I had written down originally, the 4 and the 7. And I did have the 3 Meyer, who's now sitting at 2-1. But kind of looking at this race, I looked at it as a long shot for third in the try, the 2 self-inflicted, but I don't know what's going to happen pace-wise to really endorse a horse. It's going to be coming from off the pace. But to me, the best value of the horses that I like right now is probably the 4 Matinee at 7-1. The last performance, obviously was placed first through disqualification. Dr. Green was, this one had to kind of alter the course. And you see that this horse was kind of up there and actually lost a little ground, was beaten by 5 3/4. But obviously the DQ is pretty significant there. And, horses, when they face winners for the first time, I'm a little bit more reserved, especially coming out of that made an optional claiming 40 and now into this optional claiming 40 event. But this is one I'm going to use, especially at 7-1. I don't know about the win honors, but I'm going to use this horse for second in an exacta. And the 7 I think is intriguing. Was heavily bet, not too bad, but took enough money, 5-1 last time out to miss by a nose well in for a 25 tag, going a mile and a 16th over the turf. I think this horse maybe could show some improvement second time off the layoff, and seems to have, you know, the best performances on turf for the most part. So it's kind of where I'm going. So I want to hear your opinion on those two, since I already know they're on your pick 3.
Yeah, I mean, that was largely my logic. I just want to point out to people, if you're just tuning in, let us know who you like. Let us know how you're betting this race. Interested to hear your angles, your opinions on it. Yeah, so let me just go back to Matinee for a second. As you mentioned, you know, basically placed first and now running in this race because he's no longer a maiden, because he was, you know, DQ'd into first. And so a lot of times you might say, well, you know, look, the horse was beaten 5 3/4 lengths. A horse would still be a maiden. You know, maybe this is a bit of an aggressive spot to make a win bet, or to use this horse. I will say, though, if you watch that race back, this horse who was boxed in on the rail, turning for home, struggled to find room through the stretch. Looked like he was going to go outside, then ducked back inside, and I thought made a really nice move up the rail to finish second. And you know, it wasn't just simply that he finished second. He looked good finishing second. And again, it's a different quality of horse that you're going to find at that level versus this. And so that's why you're getting 7-1 right now, because this is a fairly you know, sort of ambitious spot, I would think, for a horse who is just coming out of a maiden optional 40 win, even if he'd won the race outright. So I think that's why you're getting a good price. But visually, at least, again, I've kind of emphasized over the past few weeks, I tend to watch like an incessant amount of replays. And so like as I'm watching the replays, I take notes on horses that look visually good finishing up. And sometimes they look visually good because they're just in bad company, and they're tiring horses that make them look better. I thought this was a scenario in which this was a horse who was actually striding out well and actually running well late, and who I thought would come back and run well here. So that's why I like Matinee. But my top choice is Native Prince. I thought ran a really nice race, going a mile and a 16th on the turf here off a 7-month break. He was the only horse who closed into a super slow pace there, almost got up in time. The horse, you know, is you can look back at some of his races and you can say, look, oh well, geez, this horse hasn't even crossed the finish line first. He too was placed first via disqualification. Our horse doesn't know where the finish line is, or hasn't at least found it first. But just in terms of, you know, I have questions with all these horses in this race. I have the fewest questions, I think, with Native Prince, specifically because I think he's doing his best running, going longer on the turf. And if you kind of put a line through some of those races, you know, so the all-weather tries, you see what amounts to something resembling consistency with this horse, which you don't have with too many of the others. And look, in the defense of horses like Meyer and Matinee and even Hard and Sweet, we don't have many races to really assess. We don't really know. You know, in essence, you know, one of these horses might turn out to be a really good horse. I mean, you know, who knows? Hard and Sweet entered for 16, claimed out of that race. You know, I sometimes, you know, when you see those horses that wash off and a horse win by 10 or 15 lengths, they don't always come back and repeat that at the first you know, first level allowance level. So you know, and this is with especially, you know, that being on the dirt. His race on debut on the turf was not, you know, anything that was, you know, spectacular. He did close. I mean, look, the horse has some talent, has some ability. Do I want him at a short price? No, he's 4-1 right now. I would say that's probably a fair price. I certainly didn't love him at 2-1. So.
Yeah, I mean the class quality and just kind of overall form. I mean, this horse, again, I kind of talked about this in the last race. Came up with Meyer, came up with a 3 who didn't run very well last time out. He made his debut. It was a good debut. He was kind of fractious in the gate, which kind of caused him to be off a little bit slow that day. Made a wide move and a close. So you figure off that effort, that 32 and the second place finish, why didn't he run back right away, and why didn't he run for 32, right? Because he ran a good race. The fact that he's off for 50 days and then drops for 16, that's a negative. Yes, the horse won. He was facing inferior company, but there's something there that is like, there's an obvious sign why that horse is not running back, and why he's a homebred at that time for good connections, that they're like, we're willing to lose this horse. Now, he wins that race at 16 easily. Where has he been for 109 days? Why hasn't this horse run back? these are horses that they're gonna, horses need to run, and the fact that this horse isn't running is not because we can't find a race to run. So these are factors you have to keep in mind, especially when you have a short-priced horse. Can he win? Sure, why not? But again, when the gambling side, it's a short price. I like the point that you made up about 7. I don't not like that horse in here. Both of his 2-turn efforts were solid. Even his first start out was a good race, massive gallop out. And you can even make a little bit of excuse. The race shape scenario back in October was crazy as the field was kind of spaced out early and just kind of left him sort of out of the mix. And they came back in 8 days in a sprint. So both those races were just kind of the wrong spot, the wrong time. I like the 7 a little bit. In terms of, I think Matinee was I think we touched on him a little bit, but the one horse that Ashley mentioned really quick that I think is worth talking about is Self-Inflicted. I think he's good value right now at 10 to 1. And, this is a horse I used in doubles. He's coming back to this level and coming back to the turf, and just in terms of a positive form cycle. And he has, I know it doesn't look like it on his last 2 races, but he does have a little bit of tactical speed and could kind of put himself into a trip. There's a little bit more foundation there. Last season, just kind of not quite in the right spot with those maiden races, and just in terms of trip, kind of finally getting there. So I don't mind him at a price in this field. I guess in terms of Matinee, I don't kind of disagree with your visuals on the horse, Dan, but I do think that his trip was absolutely flow-aided, which does kind of give oftentimes that visual of a horse that's finishing well. That race was really slowing late. The winner of that race, the unofficial winner of that race, came from off the pace, and same thing with the place finisher. So it was just one of those kind of race shapes that tend to kind of aid those horses that were closing late. And I tend to upgrade the horses that were close to the pace. And I mean, Dr. Green was that DQ was a controversial DQ, not one I would have taken him down for. He was just kind of so much the best, one of those give jockeys days type of things, and should be a maiden. So he's got to kind of prove it to me off that race. But I think that goes through. What was the other one? Free Speech. Yeah, probably a likely pace setter. I mean, that's kind of his one chance, right? He's got to kind of stretch his speed out coming out of those shorter races. Yeah, he was part of the early pace last time out, probably needed that race at a sprint. But again, in terms of distance, some concerns just in terms of like lack of finish, I would say on that one.
I think we're seeing a little bit of a price drift on Lions Golden Heart. I don't think we're going to get the 12 to 1 you saw on the morning line, but I think
it was too crazy to begin with.
Yeah, no, it was.
That would be almost a red flag to me, if anything.
Yeah, no, and I'm with you. It looks like here, in terms of some of the selections here, a number of the handicappers at Woodbine even have gone with the one horse Lions Golden Heart to finish either first or second. And I think the horse does make a lot of sense. I am a little concerned that I did not use the horse in my pick 3 now. That was sort of an oversight by me, because I do like the horse. I guess when I was putting the ticket together, wanted to kind of put a reasonable ticket out there for people to follow along with. So that was where I cut. So I only went 2 deep here, 4-7. And to be honest, I initially for a moment considered singling Native Prince here. As wild as it is, it's just, this race. I mean, I think we could see a big performance from a number of horses here. Or I mean, look, Hard and Sweet is the one who could potentially just pop off and run a big race. I don't think that he will, but could. And then Self-Inflicted, like you mentioned, is another one that I'm kind of a little worried about. But just one that I couldn't go deep enough to really use. And I feel like the horse has had a number of chances, and just I feel like we know who Self-Inflicted is at this point, and maybe I'm being too tough on the horse, but I just didn't think that the horse would essentially have to take another step forward to win here. Ashley, we haven't heard from you in a bit, and I think this is the time of the show when we typically, just by the nature of asking you the question I'm about to ask you, we're going to start talking a little bit about the last race of the night, and that is, how are you playing this race? And in recent weeks, we started to look at some doubles and how you could play doubles to close out the night. So how are you betting this race? And potentially,
so I'm pulling it up right now. I'm going to pull the probables up. kind of looking at the last race, I think you used the 9 and the 10 on your ticket, if I'm not mistaken, in your pick threes. And those are two horses that I thought were logicals. And kind of looking right now at favoritism, you know, it's interesting to see some of these doubles, what they pay depending what they are. I liked 3 horses in the last leg. I liked the 9 and the 10, but my price horse, if I had to use a price horse, was the 2. I'm just pulling this up. This is Queen Speed. You know, you kind of see that the connections in here. Robert Tiller has a few. You know, Isabel Wank, she was kind of riding this horse previously, but I don't know if we don't get to watch this necessarily because we're doing the Woodbine live as soon as the TSN broadcast. But last week they did a special on Isabel and her connection with Hello Friends and how important this filly is to her. So it's no shock that this is the, you know, despite even looking at the past performances, it's just watching that interview, you understand why she chose Hello Friends. But the Queen Speed was probably my price play. I mean, this horse comes from off the pace and comes from out of the clouds. And depending what the pace ends up being, she's going to do the same. I just don't know kind of how that's going to pan out for her today because it seems like she still needs more ground. And today she's still just going 6.5. But that's a horse I'll use underneath. And, it, you know, kind of looking at the will pace here, horse actually isn't offering that much value that I thought that she would. Looking at kind of like what the double payouts could be. From here, what I'm just kind of seeing is the 10's taking money, the 9's taking money, and the 2 are taking money. Some of these horses are really big prices as far as the doubles are concerned. So I'll probably use that.
Oh, sorry.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Finish out your ticket, and then I'll throw in 2 more that you guys didn't touch on.
Yeah, so I mean, here, if I'm looking at how I'd kind of play this, I definitely use the 4 and the 7. I'm trying to think if I want to play 3 over 3 in the double. I'm not sure. But in the next leg, I definitely want to use the 2, 9, and 10. So here I'm just debating, do I want to choose another horse? I like the 2 here, but underneath, I kind of mentioned that was self-inflicted. I don't think this horse can win. So Emily's kind of done some pep talk and might have convinced me to maybe consider the 1 more than I was previously. So if I spend more money, it's Emily's fault.
Okay, so looking at the finale, I agree. I think the 10 is very logical in here. Probably the horse to beat, to be honest. Ran a winning race at this level, even last time out with the wide trip, super good effort all around. So I think that horse is a must use. And similar for 9, been running well at this level, so kind of no knocks there. Not really much progression, subtle progression, start 1s to start 2, but a couple others at a price. The number 5, Glamorous Gal. This is a horse that, to me, she's going to move up on the turf. Glamorous Girl. She's going to move up on the turf. I've watched all of her races from the debut last year. She just did not handle the synthetic. Coming back off the layoff in June, was wide throughout. Safeguard last time out. I just think she wants to get on the grass. Is finally going to be able to stretch it. Not stretch out, but kind of get that extended sprint distance, which I think is favorable as well. And just, I could really see a move forward, which she doesn't really move forward that much.
And then as well.
First time LASIX as well. That's another benefit. And then the number 7, this horse is probably going to get overlooked. I mean, last time out, broke slow, kind of rushed up, so they used a lot of speed. This is coming off a layoff, so I'm willing to kind of just draw a line through that race. The 2 turf efforts last year, especially the one at this distance back in September 27th, that is actually the strongest speed figure in this field in terms of optics figures. So that's one of those times where it's like, I just can't dismiss this horse. Getting back to those same, maybe even a little bit of a drop because that was special weight company that day and still a little bit green. So I think there's just a lot of move forward on that horse. And then the number 1 as well, kind of had some trouble at the start last time out. Big close, big gallop out. So capable to maybe show a little bit more early speed now that she has that race under her belt.
Yep, and I'll drive home. The support for the 7 hasn't hit me yet. 15 to 1 on the morning line. I don't think that horse is going off at 50 to 1. At 15 to 1, I think she'll probably be closer to 8 or 9 to 1. But it's still going to be a good price. You got to put a line through that last race. If you could do that, as Emily mentioned, you go back to the 6.5 furlong turf try. Against special weights, ran a big race there. And you also had a couple of next out winners out of that race as well. And so for me, hasn't hit me yet. I'm hoping, well, I mean, look, we're doing the show, so we're telling you about the horse. You can go put your bet in right now And so you don't miss out on this horse. But I'm hoping other people overlook this horse because I think that given the company she's in with here, if she can, go back to, if she could kind of recreate that performance there, I think she's got a very real chance of winning the race. And she's 15-1 morning line, hasn't hit me at the 7 in the last race. I do want to mention, as we're looking at doubles here, as you see down, well, let me see, you don't exactly see it. Now you see it down in the bottom right there. Oh, there it is. I can't look. It's almost as if I planned that. The dark horse pick of the race is Native Prince. So dark horse AI technology, Cube. Cube says the 7 Native Prince is going to win. Cube, I hope, is right because Native Prince is the horse that I love in this race. And so hopefully we can bring the horse home at 7-1. If you don't have Dark Horse, if you haven't downloaded it yet, go to playdarkhorse.com. And here's another Cube pick, the 8, Hard and Sweet. So, and basically the way Cube works is that it gives you, in order, it gives you the top 4 selections for each race, and then you can kind of pick them as you wish, put them wherever you want, and then they suggest packages of bets that you can make, going from sort of very risk-averse, sort of safe betting types of plays to more risky, high-risk, high-reward bets. So again, Dark Horse at playdarkhorse.com. So you've got a couple of minutes here to get in on this 7th race and to get in those doubles. I just went in. I just put in a couple of doubles myself. Let me go back and read them because I was doing it.
Actually, which 3 were you considering? Because I don't want to waste your money. Which 3 horses were you thinking here?
I mean, I know you're not a fan of the 4. I like the 7. I love the price on the 7.
I don't mind the 4. I don't mind the 4.
For me, it's the 4 and the 7. I'm wondering about the 1. That's the one that kind of scares me. Okay. So that I like the 2, but I don't like the 2 to win. So I can't use the 2 in the double, in my opinion. I say that now. We'll see if I regret that in like.
Well, instead of going like 3 by 3, which kind of like weighs your opinion equally, why not just use the 1 in a separate double with the horses that you like the most in the next race, unless you like all 3 in the last race equally.
Right.
But you can stagger it that way if it's like you don't want to. You want to be alive, or you see a payout that you think is fair to, the 1 to whatever horse you like in that last race. At least you're, if the 1 wins, at least you have, you're getting some value on a horse that you like in that last race.
Right. Yeah. That's, it's always, I sometimes split up my tickets like that too, just because maybe you start thinking about it. But it's always, for this, I think the double's the way to go. For me, I think 8-1 now on the 7. I think a win bet's also just kind of enticing if you can stay at this price. Yep. Also, let me apologize. Every time I mute, it's because my kitchen is a war zone, so we're taking out countertops. And it's not even the noise, but it's also the language is very colorful for this. So it's way worse than Sailor Mouth the last couple times. She says one bad word. These ones are like multiple in a row in a sentence. So I apologize. I'm just being like very like clicky on this. But I do think though Emily said it, the logical horse in the last is Hello Friends. That's probably the first horse you look at and you're like, okay, I have to use this horse, but you've convinced me to use the 1 in a double. So
Emily, we decided in the first race that we're gonna let Robert Geller call the races tonight. And
okay.
So
I got us out of it.
Long to gate.
Can you hear him?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so we got him. So once the race goes off, we'll shut up and let you enjoy the race call. Just to remind everyone, in case you're playing along with the ticket I posted a little earlier, we're live here to 4 and 7. I did back up here in the double by adding the 1 to the double, and then I only used the 7-10 in the last race of my in the double, but I used the 9, of course, in the pick 3. So I think we've got some consensus agreement there on the 9 and 10 certainly. And then we've got a couple of other horses we've all discussed. We'll dig into those a bit more in just a few moments once this race is done. But let's enjoy the call here.
Stand by for a start. In their stand, they're all in, locked up. Often racing, and A little bit slow was Lakeside Park. Matinee came out one of the best with Free Speech, who's run to the front. Free Speech clears them easily. Going up on the outside, Native Prince, and deeper out is Hard and Sweet. And settling in the 4th spot, Lakeside Park. Over on the inside is Maya. And then came Matinee, who got back. Lions Golden Heart and Self-Inflicted are the trailers as they turn. Shooting out in front is Free Speech by a length. Into 2nd spot goes Hard and Sweet.
Ooh, going fast up there.
Lands with the trail on the rail. A half to Lakeside Park, a length and a half to Maya.
It ain't kind of rushed and was wide into that opening quarter. So if this horse wins,
then he is good.
He'll have earned it in every way.
To Lakeside Park. On the inside, Native Prince. Up in the center, Maya. On the outside goes Matinee. Lions Golden Heart on the rail. And last is Self-Inflicted. About 7 lengths covers them. The top 2 well clear though. Free Speech on the inside comes away again from Hard and Sweet. And now making ground, Lakeside Park, Native Prince off the track, Matinee, hard ridden, the center, Maya, Lions Golden Heart on the inside.
7 looks solid.
Free Speech has slipped away. Free Speech raced out in front. Native Prince darts into 2nd spot. Lions Golden Heart held up as
one's in trouble.
In front. Native Prince coming at Free Speech. Free Speech on the inside and Native
Kick.
Prince.
Let's go with 7.
Maya, Lions
Kick.
Golden Heart the rail. Now Maya switches.
Come on.
7.
Hold over this 3.
Come on, 7. Come on,
Native Prince by a length and a half.
Come on.
Maya,
Come on, 7. Hold on.
but Native Prince got the jump and a winning break.
Excellent.
By a length to Maya.
Boom.
3.5 to Lions.
8 to 1.
Nice job. That was great.
All right. All right.
7-6.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good.
I know we're all alive with that one. So that one was great.
Feeling good. I'm feeling good. Beamy knows what's up. I feel I think I channeled a little Larry David there. Pretty.
Yeah, but I do that every
pretty.
week. I'm a snapper too, especially in this setting. I don't have a program. I can't like whip my tablet.
It just looked like the trip. I mean, the way that he was able to kind of like save ground and relax behind that pair.
Yeah.
It's like this horse is able to be where you want to be on this race course and is going to get first run on these horses. I mean, the 3 ran the race that he should have run, which was fine. The 1 got in, not the best ride on the 1, and got in some trouble, both around the turn and then the stretch before angling out on that. But no complaints on the winner.
So we've got a couple of people chiming in here, and presumably had the 7 or just reacting to it. And Ryan, of course,
Awesome.
He had tunnel listening. He only cares whatever Ashley tells him. He's betting. So he got $20 to win on the 7. Very nice hit at 8 to 1. Ashley, I hope you got some win money down late.
I do. I have win money. I'm alive in the double.
Sweet.
I'm monitoring my dad's gambling right now. I'm on his account and monitoring his bet, so I can tell you he did in fact hit the trifecta there, which I know he's super excited about. Oh, here he goes. So a little red boarding here.
I love how you're monitoring. It sounds like.
Well, he usually monitors me, make sure, but like he knows I'm generally well behaved on these things. Let's see. Jess needs a bomb here. Went 7-all, $5 double. All right. Well played, Jess. Well played. We'll find out if it's well played, but you're potentially, you're in really good shape here. I think at a minimum, with the $5 doubles, you're going to be making back your money and then some. And hopefully we get you a little price here late. Hopefully, I mean, at least from my perspective, we close it out with the 7 horse that I mentioned a few moments ago. The 15 to 1 in the morning line hasn't hit me. So it hasn't hit me yet. So we'll see. Sean Patrick Nolan again with the words of encouragement. So we appreciate that. And congrats to everyone who hit. And we've got one more race here to go at Woodbine, and then we will transition into some of the harness racing at Mohawk. We'll also have Robert Reid Jr. joining us in just a little bit. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. It's commercial time. Let's run a little commercial for the people. Do you remember what Dark Horse said you should bet? The 7 and the 3? That kind of worked.
dark horse. Download the app today.
There you go. Costs you nothing to download it. PlayDarkHorse.com. Go ahead and get that done. All right. So, seventh race, just about wrapped up here. I don't think we've seen prices yet, but the race has gone official, and we will continue to monitor. We'll wait for the board to go up on the eighth race. We take a look at some of the opening odds here for some of the horses in the finale, which is it's a pretty nice race. Look, I mean, it's a maiden optional 40 going 6.5 on the turf. We've got a couple of horses here who have tried it already. You have a couple who will be trying the turf for the first time, and so any number of scenarios could sort of unfold here. We've done a little bit of a preview for people just joining us. Ashley, do you want to kind of give the general setup of this race? I know a couple of the horses that you like, we've touched on already. The 10, Hello Friend, 9, Rolling Sloan. Yep.
Give me 1 second. I was opening up because I know we have about 10 minutes to the first at Mohawk. Getting that set up. So 6.5 on the turf here, kind of looking at the way this race might shake up. It's always hard, I think, with these maiden races and looking at these horses' past performances. To me, kind of looking at who I think will be kind of towards the front, the 9 and the 10, kind of stood out to me, just looking at their most recent efforts. Even the 3 2 starts back had some early foot going 7 furlongs over the Tapeta and wanted to be forwardly placed. But Emily even pointed this out, like sometimes sitting in this sort of race, trying to figure out the pace scenario is not necessarily always worth it, just because you don't know how things might plan out. The 10, Hello Friend, sticks out. Start 2 back was the first effort of 2020, just missed by a neck in there. It was a kind of a blanket finish in there. The third place finisher, Spanish Ballerina, already came back a winner. And then last time out, looking at that effort on the turf, going 6 furlongs, decent effort. I mean, kind of just was up for late and stuck around for second place. Was beaten by 3 3/4 lengths though. Revivalist was the third place finisher, already came back to win. Just kind of making notes of those horses. The 9, Rolling Sloan, was the horse that I was going to use. I just thought this horse, first time on turf, has 2 performances where this horse showed improvement second time out. Appreciated the extra ground, which you could kind of see that off the debut, that this one was kind of made up some ground. I don't want to say it was remarkable, but did seem like the distance would help. So 6.5 was a better performance, finishing third in that race. I know you guys all like the 7, so I'm going to leave that guys to you because I did not really use that horse. The 2, Queen Speed, I mentioned. This is a horse, though, I have reservations on based on the distance and kind of looking at this horse's trips. You kind of even look at the trip notes. Rallied, flew in the stretch, rallied in vain, but this horse is still getting beat by over 5 lengths in the last 3 starts, and I don't love that. You are going 6.5, which is the furthest that she's gone this year, which is a plus, but still in her cases, I'm not confident, but I thought the price would be right. So I am alive to her in the double. Even though, I always say this, that I don't think a horse can win. I typically don't use them in the double, but with her, I'm just going to give her one more chance, and the price was right. So I used her. Horse on the Rail was moved up to 5th via the disqualification. And this one was really far back early on, was bumped pretty hard out of the gate. So, this horse finished mid-pack. I'm kind of intrigued to see this horse second time out and is getting first time blinkers on. So I think that should maybe help this one as well. Also raises the question, what's going to happen early on with this filly by Bodemeister? I mentioned the 3 showed some early foot, 2 starts back. I think you guys mentioned Glamorous Girl, or at least Emily. I think that's who you mentioned earlier on, maybe. Again, maybe talk me onto a horse a little bit that I'm kind of considering, definitely for the exotics. But those are the main takeaways for me. I'm not surprised, I will say this, though, to see that the 11 was bet down. I had a feeling that from the 20-1 morning line, you're seeing blinkers off. You're seeing a new trainer who is a limited number of starts with those, first win with trainer. You can only see the sample size is 5 there. And the stats aren't too hot, kind of looking at what I'm looking at the daily racing form, what they provide. But I figured this horse, looking at those turf races from California, that this horse would automatically take a look in here, and only has that 1 start this year over the dirt at Churchill Downs. So I'm not surprised to see this horse bet down, especially just seeing Luis Contreras aboard. I know that always sways players as well. So you know, that might be shocking to some, but to see that horse bet down from half the morning line doesn't shock me.
All right, we've got 20 minutes to post here. We've got a couple of minutes. We've got 5 minutes exactly until the first at Mohawk. We have Robert Reid Jr. in the green room. Before we bring him in, Emily, just wanted to get your quick read of the board here and how these odds look to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the 10 being the favorite right now, I think that's super logical. The 3 is your current second choice right now. A horse that's just is consistent is one of those ones you probably, if you're playing a trifecta, is one of those ones you want in the bottom spots, but just hasn't turned in a winning type race and just hasn't really shown improvement in any of those starts. You know, as far as the 2 goes, I mean, she can definitely win. She's run fast enough. She's run good races at this level, the first start back this season. And even her being a deep closer, it just comes down to price because just so much has to go right. It's probably fair right now at 7-1. I think I touched on the other horses in the last race, so I'll go over them really quick, the ones that I'm interested in here. We kind of beat the 7 up a little bit, but really sneaky good form, is against the flow last time out, has those stronger races to come back to, and comes out of that key race last time out. As far as the 1, I think the equipment change is really positive, considering the fact that she did break slow, and I think they are going to be a little bit more assertive and worked on that in the meantime, so could see a little bit more speed and just improvement overall, because she did put in a big close and a good gallop out, so there's just a lot of upside. As far as the angle with the 5, speed figures are light, but I just think the turf move is going to move her up. I think this is a surface that she wants to get over. And again, it's kind of third start off the layoff, getting Lasix. As far as the 9, just there's kind of nothing to knock, but similar to the 3, just kind of looks a little bit common. I mean, what you see is what you get. She just doesn't really excite me. The first race back was good, and then just kind of even in the second start with a favorable pocket trip. I'm trying to go quick because I know we have this going on. As far as the 11, I mean 10-1, getting bet down off the 20-1 morning line is probably a little bit high. But I'm familiar with her out in California and charting the races out there. She just didn't do a whole lot of running there, and it's just hard to see a turnaround. I mean, she's got to move forward, 15, 20 points in order to compete with some of these others, and post position does her no favors either.
Right. Another comment here. Last race winner hit the Win Play Show, Exacta Try and Super. Hey, listen, CCSK8 photo. Tell your friends. We do this every Thursday night. Tell your friends. Woodbine Live is where it's at. And this is not an anomaly. We've been doing this. We've been winning every week. I mean, I'm sorry. Tell your friends. All right. We are going to make the transition here to Mohawk. In order to do that, first thing we've got to do here is pull this screen down, give you a quick look at. Okay, there we go. That screen's down. All right, now we add Robert Reid Jr. Robert, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. I was trackside, but I think it was a little bit too noisy. I'm at Mohawk right now, at Mohawk Park, in a boardroom that I spent most of my day in. So just setting up shop in here and looking forward to the card of racing tonight.
Nice. Robert, you can catch the author of the Horse Player's Journal every night when there's racing at Mohawk. You could find his picks and analysis. If you've been following us in previous weeks, you know that he comes with some strong opinions some nights, some big singles, and those singles help anchor the pick 4s and pick 5s that we play, both on the show when we're live and once we sign off. We never let him leave until giving us a late pick 4 and pick 5 play. So stay tuned for that. We are going to transition now to the first race at Mohawk. We're going to add that to our screen. And as we do, we're going to ask Robert to set the stage for us.
Yeah, well, we're going to start out with, where do we always start off with? Well, last week claimers, but most of the time it was 2-year-olds, and that's where we're going today. We're going with Ontario sired 2-year-olds that are non-winners of 5,000 lifetime. So yeah, for the most part, maidens or horses that have not made very much in their life. And these are of the pacing variety. So, again, these ones have provided us with prices in the past, and this one looks like it might go that way. Somehow, I ended up landing on the 2-1 favorite right now, which I thought this horse would be a more of a price, number 7, Metallica. But again, this is, a pretty wide open event. So this is not a race that I really have a strong opinion on. In fact, if you're betting an early pick 5, I certainly would spread in this race because I think that the winner could come from a number of different spots.
Do you have any singles in the early pick 5 sequence? Like since we are running out of time here, we brought you in up against the clock.
Yeah, so if I was going to play an early pick 5, my single would definitely come in race number 4, and that's number 7, Trina. She's a 3-year-old trotting filly, and this horse raced really, really good last week for Blake McIntosh for the first time, in a pari-mutuel race, and that was against Gold Company. This is now just a non-winners of 2, so I think she runs off the screen tonight. I really think that she's a solid single in your early pick 5, and then in the second race, we're going to get a little bit creative and try to beat a heavy favorite in number 6. We're going to use the 6 Black Tie Bash, but I really like the 3. My Crown, My Kingdom, 12-1 on the morning line, I believe. 12-1 on the morning line. But we'll talk more about him when we get to that race. But he's a $450,000 yearling, and I think this horse might have something up his sleeve in his first lifetime start. So that's where we're going to go shopping to try to beat the heavy favorite, number 6 Black Tie Bash, in race number 2.
Can you hear me clicking away at my ticket? Ashley, thoughts on this first?
I'm with Robert. I thought the 7 Metallica kind of stood out to me. I don't love 9 to 5 though. So from there, kind of looking at the Horse Players Journal, we're on the same page. The next horse seemed to be Bankroll Sealster, the number 4. This horse has kind of shown improvement. I had the 2 qualifiers, one of which was at Mohawk, and then had the other qualifier, I should say. I actually had another one. That most recent one was obviously resulted in a first place finish in the qualifier. It was pretty nice effort. And I think this one is just the next logical looking at them. Now, the other one that I kind of considered was the horse that drew the inside post, Dietrich Sealster. I didn't obviously love last time out in that Ontario Sire Stakes. And even the one before that was at the gold level. So even more competitive, hadn't shown much. But prior to that, had 2 decent qualifiers. You do kind of wonder, though, this horse has kind of some gate speed off the gate, but kind of just hangs around and doesn't have enough finish. So 3-1's definitely, if a horse is 5-2 morning line, I thought that was a little low on this horse because this horse lacks finish. A lot of these other horses are going to be, kind of closing from off of it. And this horse has the advantage of having the inside post tonight, but doesn't have that finish. So I'd use that one underneath. But for me, it was the 7 and then the 4.
Okay. Let's see who else likes the 7. Cube likes the 7. Cube is all over Metallica and also Dietrich Sealster, the one horse that you mentioned. And then behind that, the 4 Bankroll Sealster and the 6 Frank DeFord.
Yeah,
Robert.
I'm on the same horses, 7, 4, 6, 9 for me. I actually threw the one out because I thought the one was going to be the heavy favorite on here. I bet the one last time. I singled the one in my multi-leg wagers, and I was extremely disappointed. There is an equipment change tonight. They are going from a blind to a blind with windows. So maybe the horse didn't see the horses on his outside, didn't respond to them. There's a number of different angles they could be playing with that one. At 5-2, I'm a little bit surprised. I thought the horse would take a little bit more money than that. And really, for me, I like the 7, hoping for value. Now 2-1. I was really impressed with the 4 in that last qualifier. And at 9-2, that might be a place to go shopping right now. The 9, he's my buddy, is my price play. I hate the 9 post. We know that the 9 post is just death. However,
it's been good on this show.
2 scratches to this the geldings inside. He's my buddy. He, I thought, was a horse that qualified really well. Came out at 91-1, got beat 24 lengths. Came back, got beat 20 lengths again. Went to Georgian Downs and almost beat a horse that I would bet everything I have on in here today. That's Magnum Moon. And Magnum Moon would be a massive favorite in here. This horse almost went by that one last time. Just beat 3/4 of a length. So if he can get his way into the race, I think the 9 has a decent shot at 15-1 now. But this is definitely a difficult event to start us off.
All right. Comment from Ryan Willis here. I'm assuming this is a reference to the 9 horse when everyone takes down except Phil. Watch out. Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah, so he's on the 9, and I know. So I do know Ryan Willis quite well. I know he cashed on Ashley's pick earlier. He sent me a message to say He made some serious coin there. He was kind of tracking this horse as well last time at Georgian, so we're on the same page with that one. If he does blast off and somehow get spotted, well early, like he said, watch out.
Hey, we may have the race call from the track here, which helps all of us. Let's see if we have it. Let me know if you can hear it. You hear? Is it a little low? Is it a little low?
It's a little low, but I can hear it barely.
All right, we'll leave it down there, and then we'll try to boost
it. Looks like Ryan's right. It looks like Phil's right on the gate with the 9. He might be blasting off here, and he is.
Gio Ponte showing up once again with the pick 5 ticket. Good luck, Gio.
So nice lineup for us early. 9 on top with the 7 in the 2-hole. Well, nice lineup my tickets anyways.
Well, we did talk plenty about the 7 as well, Metallica.
He's going to remove, and now He's My Buddy gets the 2-hole trip. Again, definitely overlooked because of his performances here at Mohawk Park to start off his career, but something must have went amiss because, like I said, his last qualifier and his last race were impressive. And right now, no one really in a hurry to move. They must be going a good clip, I would think, because they're all strung out. 57-1. No, they're not. They went almost 30 seconds in the second quarter. So right now, I'd like to have a pile of 7-9s, 9-7.
What do you think? You think the 9's got another move in him?
I think he probably does. I mean, like I said, if he can race back to what he raced at Georgian Downs, but right now, let's see, the 7 kind of broke contact with him. The 9 at Georgian, he kind of did the same thing on the last turn and then came on again the lane. We'll see.
A nice move from the 6 there. Oh, 9's still coming a little bit.
Looks like he's trying to battle on. The 7's green on the front end. He just was all over the track.
Move this 9.
We could use a 7-9 here. I'll take, I'd rather a 9-7, but we'll take a 7-9.
All right.
Looks like a 7-9, 8-1 or 1-8.
Oh, so a big. If it was the 8, that's another big price underneath. It came 18.
Which of course my wife would kill me for not using Robbie Rulemaker, because my son, of course, his name is Robbie and he makes all the rules.
Yeah, that's one of those. Just so you don't have that regret later on. At least a saver, right?
Yeah, exactly. But hey, listen. I'll take that as a start to the night for the journal. Winner on top, and then use the 9 for 4th underneath. But finishing second at 18-1, and really we kind of highlighted that horse as the horse that was the price play. I wonder how big Ryan Willis has this. Maybe he'll let us know. Hopefully he's got it. I was not expecting the 7 to be 6-5. I don't like putting those kind of horses on top, but
I think, 5-1 morning line was generous just because looking at the horse last time out, had the bad post and was able to rally. Different tactics today completely. It didn't fold out the same way, but, looking at that performance out of the 7 post last time was really far back and made up a lot of ground. So not surprised that this one actually went off as the favorite necessarily, but 6-5 is pretty short.
Yeah, and the 8 did get 3rd. So a little 7-9 all action would have been nice there.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm refreshing Pops' account to see if we got anything.
Like you're monitoring him, making sure everything's okay.
Just refreshing here. Well, I put the doubles in on his account, so he may his account may soon have a little bit more money in it. It looks like he played the pick 5. He's not messing around. He just played a pick 5. He's got the little extra money that he made in the last race, so he played the pick 5. He used 1, 4, and 7 there in the first leg. So he's moving on. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and we'll take down the Mohawk screen for now, and we're going to reconnect with the Woodbine screen, so that we can take in this finale, the 8th race of the night. at Woodbine. I feel like we've done sufficient handicapping and analysis of the race. Just to remind everyone kind of what we're alive to. I'll just start with this ticket because I'm pretty excited about it. Posted it early. It was a $24 ticket if you played it for $1. And if you did, you're alive to $725 with the 7. You're alive to $215 with the 9, and you're alive to $180 on that dollar bet with the 10. And then we've all got some doubles going. My doubles are, let's see, I've got 7 and 10 in my doubles. Emily, Ashley, what are your doubles looking like?
1, 5, 7, 10.
Okay.
2, 9, 10.
That two. Scared of that too a little bit. Robert, did you look at this race at all?
I did. I didn't hear my horse. I actually, I like the 3 See Mia Laugh.
Oh,
That's who
okay.
I like. I just watched the head-on shot last time, and this horse got bumped and checked and all kinds of other nasty stuff. And I just really think that with the treble trip and now picking up Raffi in the irons might help this horse immensely. And 5 to 1, not a bad price from the 6 to 1 morning line. And I was using the 2 and 9 underneath the 3.
All right. Yeah, See Me a Laugh. I mean, this is one who pace was pretty hot last out and was sort of behind it, obviously, but was there for a moment and then was just couldn't hang. The pace in this race, at least from what we know of these horses, I mean, doesn't project to be overly hot. I mean, Emily, what are you seeing there?
I mean, again, pace is really tough when you have lightly raced horses and you have first-time starters. I mean, a lot of these horses have kind of, the ones that have established their form, like the 2, for example, we can say this is a horse that's kind of a confirmed closer. Mm-hmm. In terms of the other ones, it's not like we have, a real kind of front running type in the field. A couple of them have shown speed here and there. So, it'll be a jockey's race in terms of on that front. I mean, looking at Optics Plot again, because of the surface distance data being limited, 7, 10, 11 all have tactical speed to kind of be up there and set the pace. And then just in terms of standard, which is current form, that'll bring in all the races if they're routing or synthetic or whatever. 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, all kind of in that kind of tracking spot. But again, you have to keep in mind lightly raced horses, such as the one who just has that one start where it broke slow and had trouble at the start. Is there anybody that's going to be surprised from the one post if they decide to send and go to the front? Like, not me. That's what I would try to do, knowing what happened last time out. So, yeah, it's tough in terms of pace to really try to analyze. I think sometimes you try to just look at it from an advantage-disadvantage perspective of is this horse going to be really compromised based on running style, or is this horse going to be really elevated based on running style? I think that's sort of a general approach people should take when they're handicapping, instead of just trying to be like, okay, the one's going to be in front and then the 2 is chasing, and then, try to really notebook it. Look for advantages, look for disadvantages, and then once you cycle back through with speed figures and form, then try to figure out kind of race design and shape horse by horse.
Yep. Just to kind of list out my selections in this race in order, I like Hasn't Hit Me. I think the price right now, 11 to 1, is great. It's perfect. I think she might take a little bit of late money. I think, again, like I said, I'm always surprised she kind of goes off about 8 to 1 or so, but she's not going to take a huge drop. You're going to get somewhere between 8 and 12 to 1, which is great. Hello Friends is, I think, the most logical horse in this race, the 10 horse. And then underneath that, I was 9-1-2. We've got, Ashley obviously used the 2 in her ticket. We know that Emily's got the 1 in her ticket. And I'll just kind of put up here briefly what we all need to cash. I think the only common horse that we have is the 10. But of course, we're all secretly hoping that horse doesn't win because that's each of our lowest payouts. So we're sort of rooting for a team win. But if it doesn't happen, hopefully, it'll be worthwhile because we can, we'll hit it. One of us will hit a bigger ticket. So I guess that was the best way of saying that, right? Did
that
I
was
sound
just so nice and kind?
It's shorter, but it's still pretty good.
It's 75, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
someone said that they had someone said that they had the $5 double. So I did the calculation, like $187. It's a heavy wager, but on the minimum, I mean, you're making money. Like that's the most important thing, and that's kind of like the worst case scenario.
Yep.
From a betting perspective, at least.
Any exactors or tries out there, or we're just going to kind of let this ride? Robert, you got any action?
I can't bet the 3-horse with you guys needing other horses. So I'm not going to cheer against my friends. I don't do that. I mean, I will on the harness side. You guys are on your own over there, but you guys are the experts in the thoroughbred side. So I will just sweat with you guys. And if my 3 wins, dumb luck.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have too much of an issue with the 3. I just didn't end up using her. I mean, I would not be shocked if she ran a really good race here. I think her best start was probably that race. What race? 3 back? No, 2 back. I think the 2 back race was that maiden race over the Chipeta. And so, look,
and the blinkers go on.
I think if she gets out cleanly and can get to the lead and slow things down, she's one I'd be worried about. But I don't know if she's going to slow things down because you got a 12-horse field with a bunch of horses we've touched on. We haven't really seen run before, so presumably there's some other pace in here. But we'll see. I could bring the audio back. So you don't have to listen to us anymore. You have to listen to me anymore. Sound good?
I've been able to hear it the whole time. I don't know about you guys, but
yeah, I have too.
Even when we were talking?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I messaged you.
That's so weird. Yeah, I've got it muted. It's weird that it's playing it while we're talking. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I thought for a second I had like another because I have it on like a couple of. I was like, what are these on? I hope they're not hearing my screen in the background. But it wasn't.
That's so odd. Yeah, I guess I got to mess with this a little bit. This is our first time kind of just playing the race, the track feed sound. So we'll get that worked out for next time. But all right, I'll put this up. Last time I put this up, we hit. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up again. I hope we can hit one, even though we're covering Robert's face here a little bit.
It's all right. You guys go get it. Good
Tilt
luck.
your camera down, Robert.
Is that a Macho Man shirt?
It is a Macho Man shirt.
You know what? I'm so disappointed. I mean, I'm happy I'm at work today, but I'm disappointed because I was going to wear my Macho Man shirt.
Oh.
But I couldn't really wear that to the office. So.
Not quite. Okay, to be secured. Has gone in now, and hello, friends, for Isabel Wentz. There are 2 back. Queen Licia, blinkers off. And Sahin Savachi, Eleanor Powell. This race presented by the HBPA. Hopefully our Trackside Live viewers are doing well. They're ready. And they're off. And coming out the best, Rolling Sloan clearly from See Me a Laugh. Away okay, hello friends. Coming through the leaders. Oh,
where did Geller go? Do you hear him?
Splits horses to go up.
Yeah, I can hear him.
I hear him.
I don't hear anything. I don't have any race call. Enjoy the race call.
You have the chicklets. You can call it if you want, but yeah, we can hear the sound.
Yeah, I don't want to talk over him. I'll watch. Maybe this will lead to something good. We'll see.
Rolling Sloan, a length and a half. Hello friends on the pace from Queen Licia. See Me a Laugh is 5th. Behind them, Glamorous Girl, and then Queen Speed, who's mid-pack on the rail, traveling okay. A length and a half again to Hasn't Hit Me Yet, a Little Irish Luck, Eleanor Powell. Classy Mistress taking off from the back. And last is Still Smoking Hot. Rolling Sloan coming up to join this leader with Hello Friends. Oh, Heavens on the inside. Rolling Sloan the center. 3 wide Hello Friends. See Me a Laugh right behind them. Trying to run through the pack is Queen Speed. Glamorous Girl hasn't hit me yet. Coming down the lane, and now Hello Friends moves up to join these leaders. Oh Heavens, Rolling Sloan, See Me a Laugh, and Queen Speed down the outside. Rolling Sloan and Hello Friends tackled by Queen Speed on the extreme outside.
Ashley, you're looking strong here.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah. Looks like it's a 2.
Queen Speed and Emma Jane going on.
Nice hit.
Wow.
All right, congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Sorry,
Congrats.
I also think this is my best possible case scenario. So
very nice. That awesome. Look, that double had to pay nice. Let me see.
Whew.
168 for 2.
Okay.
Wow.
I'll take it.
Very
Good
nice.
job, Ashley.
Well done.
Thank you. Do we want the bad news though?
What's the bad news? Did you do a try where you like missed the third horse?
Yeah. So who was okay? Let's just see. 2, 9, and this is what I think.
10, yeah.
10.
Yeah.
You have to have had the 10
I
third.
had I needed the 5 for third in my try.
What?
Oh,
You didn't use the 10 in the third spot?
No. So here's what I ended up doing. I started looking at this. So I ended up playing a try, actually with the 2 and the 10 on top. And then I used a bunch of horses behind. I used the 3 and the 7 from multiple conversations between the two of you. So I used the 2, 3, 7, 9, 10. And then I used the 1 and the 5 for third for prices. Because I couldn't believe that the 5 had kind of gone up to that price.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't mind that approach. I mean, the 5 was right there with the 10. I mean, you're like kind of a tick away, but the 10 looked like the type of horse to me that was like gonna be like a win contender. So to put her in that spot, you know, it made, you know, it made a lot of sense. It's like she's either gonna be there or could be off the board at a short price. So I don't think in terms of structuring a ticket that was the wrong play. It just didn't work out. But I think in the long term, that's probably gonna be a good strategy.
No, I mean, that's typically what I try to do. And sometimes it comes to bite me in the butt because I'm not structuring it. Like, for example, I'll use my dad because he's the one who kind of taught me to bet. He'll usually play horses. Maybe he'll play 2 over, 3 over, 5, but he's constantly using those same top 2 horses throughout the other spots. And I sometimes stray away from that in the third spot, especially when I like horses that are shorter prices. You know, kind of a mess up on my part here because the 10, you know, you said it was probably a win contender, probably a top 3 contender. I mean, it'd be hard to see that horse not finishing the top 3. I mean, she stuck around for third. But I'm always, for me, when I look for value, like in a horse, you know, for me, it's second or third typically. So I tried to go for a price there. It didn't work out. I mean, I would have loved 295. That would have been great. But I'll take the double.
Yeah, no sympathy for you. No sympathy. Take your winnings and
sorry,
be happy.
I'm gonna go home now.
And again, if we look at the way that this track has been playing, again, both kind of the 2 and the 9 were able to save a little bit of ground in there. And it's just been such a thing over this course that to kind of keep note of. I mean, even the 3, I mean, kind of no excuse. Sorry, Robert, but it was able to kind of save ground and had kind of every chance in there. Probably just needs that little bit of drop in class coming back.
Question: have you heard anything from the Woodbine track feed in the past minute or so? Have I effectively muted it? Good. Okay, I think I've figured it out. Good. Something to look forward to next week. Not having a bunch of crazy sound all over the place. Oh, cool. This is a very, very good payout. Let me see, just to torture myself. Let me see what the pick 3 was to that horse. Like I said, I stopped just short of going to that next horse for me, which was Queen Speed. But I could not use another horse there. Yeah, for what's 71 times 5? Quick, that's 350 or so.
355.
355.
Yeah, so 355 for the dollar pick 3, which is really nice. That is not bad at all.
I think it helped. I mean, what did the last race we had 8-1, right? And then here 9-1. Pretty solid.
Yep. Okay, well, it's let's see. We're a couple of minutes away from the second at Mohawk. This is the time of the night where we bid farewell after an adventurous Thursday night here for Emily Gullikson.
I know. That was a tough one, but I think it all worked out in the end. You guys got a lot of good information out there. So next week, hopefully, and might have to work on my. I've never really had any internet issues here, so just bad timing.
All right. Well, you did all right. You were sending in picks and analysis by text, which was great. We had the written version of you, which is the second best version, as opposed to seeing you here live with us, which we appreciate, and which you do every Thursday night, starting at 6 o'clock. So if you missed out early tonight, we're back doing it again next week, Woodbine Live. And I've now said that the show's on Thursday night about 5 times. I haven't said Wednesday yet. It's only a matter of time, but I know that my record will be intact here until Emily hops off, and then I'll probably screw up later on. So thank you again, Emily.
All right, thank you guys, and hi and bye to the dogs until next week.
All right, we are coming up to the second at Woodbine Mohawk, and we will share that screen with you here momentarily, so you can get a look at some of the horses on the track. Let's see. Are you going to work? Will you work? Will you work? Maybe Emily left us with some of the technical bugs here. Hold on. Okay, we got it. We're in. We're in. All right, Robert, what say you?
Well, this is we got the second leg of the Millard Farm Series, and if you remember, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we watched Black Tie Bash just completely dominate in here, and 2-5 is not surprising on the 6 Black Tie Bash. I opted to try number 3, My Crown, My Kingdom. It was a $450,000 yearling, which I know the thoroughbred game, that's something that happens all the time, but not so much in the standardbred side. And this horse is a half brother to multi-stakes winner, Be a Magician, who won just 45 races of 72 starts in her career and earned over $4 million. So, this horse, I didn't mind the way the horse qualified. Now, I think a lot of people are going to be a little bit pessimistic about their chances because number 2 Logan Park beat the horse handily in their qualifier by about 7 lengths. But what I saw was a horse that did everything that was asked, of him. So I'm not really worried about that. I think it's worth taking a shot on this one at 5-1. Might not be ready to go up first asking, but if he is, you might never get this price on him again. And again, Black Tie Bash, all credit to him. He's been absolutely fantastic, especially in his last 2 starts. But at 1-5, like we said before, young trotters, no thank you. We're going to look for some value and land on the 3. What do you think, Ashley?
I agree. Black Tie Bash looks really tough. And I read the journal this time. I didn't read it last week. Kind of convinced me a little bit more on the 3. But I do like the 2 Logan Park, and I like that Logan Park's right near the morning line because I thought 10-1 was really good value. This one's kind of hard to follow. I mean, what you can see here is you see those 2 qualifiers in June, decent. Then you see the gold level Ontario Sire Stakes. This one took no respect, was 30-1, missed by a neck, finished 3rd. So a really close finish in that race. I like that. But then you have 2 efforts, one of which was in kind of the first leg of this Millard Farms. Leaves you with a lot to be desired, right? Has had problems off the gate in both of them. Had a bad post in that one event and had the 8 post, and then the next effort second. And then I kind of like the move to decide to qualify this one. Needed some confidence, I think, and that's what the qualifier is definitely going to give him. I just hope that he doesn't kind of revert to what he's been doing behind the gate in his 2 starts, the most recent ones. But I thought 10-1 was good. Kind of looking at the try, I'd probably use the 3, the 2, 3, and the 6 on top. I'd spread here just to try to get a price because I just hate 2-5. It just drives me nuts. So that's kind of what I do. If I wanted to use a bomb for 3rd, I'd actually use the second longest shot on the board, the horse on the rail. One, the Warley Whisper. Qualified, had a decent qualifier, and then put her in the first leg of this Millard Farms. Didn't take any respect. Another horse, 40-1. Interestingly enough, we talk about this all the time. This horse has the 1 post once again. Last time out had the 1 post. Didn't have really speed, which we would prefer from that inside post, but was able to kind of still get a decent trip. Was beaten by 6 1/4 then, so that's worth noting. But there's no reason for me to maybe think that this one couldn't get 3rd again or 4th. I know your dad's a big super player, so that's kind of where I would kind of put that, tell dad to maybe use a horse. Because you have to go for a price. That 1-5, if the 6 wins, is going to crush any payout. So hopefully you can get someone like the 1 for 3rd or 4th.
It's all about knowing your audience, and Ashley's giving the people what they want, giving us supers and 8-horse fields. I know my dad will be, 4 by 5 by 6 by 8 by the end of it.
Hopefully not.
So let's see if we. Hey, look, I'm rolling with the hot hand. Ashley is hot. I'm gonna roll with it. She said she likes the 2, 3, 6 on top. That's what I'm going with. I know Robert is all in on that 3 as well. My Crown, My Kingdom. So feeling confident with that horse up there too. And then I went ahead just because, again, I'm just rolling with the hot hand. The 1 horse, Warrawee Whisper, at 30-1. You said to use the horse for 3rd. I used the horse for 2nd. So, confidence. I'm feeding off your confidence and your energy. Let us know. You see the scroll at the bottom of the screen there, who you're betting in this race. I haven't seen Gio Ponte's bet yet for this race. We do know that Gio Ponte does have 1, 3, 4, 6, 7 in the pick 5. So pretty well spread here, and obviously hoping to get the big favorite beat, Black Tie Bash. So we'll see if that happens. And we definitely, I think I have seen more horses go off stride during this show than I have seen in my entire life collectively before we started doing this show.
Yeah, these.
I just want to touch really quick. I don't think we talked about the 7 Walk on the Moon and the 8 on a Streak. You see, Bob McClure has opted for obviously the 3, the other horse in that barn, and then the 7 scratched out of the first leg of this. But if you look at that effort, really the most recent effort was at that gold level, was 2nd, but this one kind of had the controlling pace in there, was able to kind of get up front and kind of clear, and then just was simply second best, couldn't hang around. So those are other horses I'm sure people are considering in their tickets, especially probably the 7.
Yeah, my selections are 3, 6, 7, 2. I played a 3 over the 2, 6, 7, 8. Obviously hoping, that the 3 can win, and if we can get the 6 off the ticket, even though, listen, he's a serious trotter. But the 3 look good on the track. I like the way that he looked. He looks like a big, strong trotting colt, and we will see what he has to offer first time very shortly.
If history is any indication, we will see a horse go off stride within the next 5 seconds. So enjoy that. I'm going to unmute the track sound, so hopefully you can hear it. Yay, hear it?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
And the first one off
What did I tell you? What did I tell you?
Moose on your caboose is off stride.
From the rail is where we whisper, stacked up 3 deep is Walking the Moon, 4 deep is On a Streak. Inside 5th belongs to
you're bad luck, man.
Then we go back outside.
Every week a horse goes
off.
off
It's fine.
stride.
It wasn't any of our horses, I guess. So
yeah.
Moose on your caboose.
Kind of what we expected, but the other Luke Blay horse, right to the top, On a Streak.
Which, I mean, the horse had a little speed off the gate in the last couple.
Yeah.
I guess when you have the 8 post, you have 2 options, either go or not. So
I actually bet that one last time, and he got beat by the 6. And your 1 horse removing like right away.
Let's go. Move the horse. Get up there.
Wow.
28 flat.
I like the way this 3's traveling right now. Going to be second over. A legit half, 57 and 4 for young trotters, and the 3's going to get towed into it. So we'll see what he's got today. Kind of gapped right now.
Ooh, look at Logan Park now.
3/8 of a mile to go. They're chasing Warrawee Whisper. Logan Park puts the big pressure on that leader now. Inside 3rd for.
So the 3's methodically coming into the 6 gets the shuffle. I mean, the 6's in a really bad spot right now, especially if a horse has been winning on the front end every week.
We're mostly okay with that, right?
I'm good with that right now. If the 3 rips off cover and blows bottom.
About to see a huge upset here. I need somebody to get by this one. Just 1 horse get by this one. Not the 8. Keep the 8 out of it.
3 made a break. Oh,
no!
My God. The 2 looks good, though. Ashley might be scoring here. The 2, 1 would be giant. Oh, the 6 is.
6 for 3rd. Hold the 1 for 2nd.
Oh, it's close.
Did the 1 get 2nd?
I don't know.
I love you, Ashley. You're hot right now. You cannot be beaten right now.
I should have rolled the hot hand. Logan Park at 7-1.
Ashley's on fire.
I'm surprised that horse is not bet down the morning line. I know you're taking a chance with a horse that has problems in those 2 races off the gate, but I thought that was the kind of the price.
Oh, I hope this 1 helps second. Come on.
I mean,
did you play an exacta as well, Dan?
I just played the try.
It looks like.
What do we think?
It looks like you're good.
I think they're good.
I think you're good, but I don't want to get you too excited if you got this exacta because it's going to be boxcars.
Well, I'll complain just a little bit that my pick 5 is dead. But it was a very small ticket. Let me see if my dad used the 2. No, he didn't use the 2 in his ticket either. Ugh. All right. I can't be greedy, right? We'll take the try here.
Yeah, I mean, the tries, I mean, it's still going to pay okay. Not great because you got the 6, but whew.
A 2-1 exact is 253.
Wow.
2168. I was feeling really good about that 3 until he broke stride. We'll have to watch him for next time. Very, this horse qualified against the horse that I just bet got beat by 7 lengths by this one last time. Go figure, right? I bet the horse that gets beat by 7 lengths, and you get 7-1 on this one. Again, great call by Ashley. This horse was definitely overlooked in here, going off 7-1, and the 1. I mean, I didn't use this horse anywhere. Great call on that one as well. Run second. I mean,
he's trying to take over, trying to call it Ashley live.
Really late too, so I mean, I think the 6 was fairly beaten. He got a bad trip, but
I'm happy. I got 7-1, 8-1, and 9-1. It's very it's in order, good prices. It's good though. I think for the show, the only favorite we've really, seen a heavy favorite was the last race, but another horse that we all liked.
Yeah.
So, how much do you have to try for?
You're going to be disappointed.
You played the minimum.
No, I played it twice. I played it for 40 cents.
Okay, that's no. I think that's what I do, especially sometimes, especially in a race like this. I mean, as long imagine if you would have had a different price for third, you'd be fine with a 40 center.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I mean, it makes up for a little bit of the
pain earlier.
Yeah, my disappointment in not maximizing my return on. I love that 8-1 that won the 7th race, and then just stopped a little short.
$122.
Yeah, not bad at all. I'll take it. Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Nice score. Right, great call. Look at the super.
Look at the super. Wow. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Super.
502. Wow. I should have done that. Brazil checking in. Hello from Brazil. All right, $120. Keep going. All right, like I said, Ashley, all you got to do is do it again.
That's too much pressure. I didn't feel pressured there. That's why it was a good result.
Let's repeat the same sort of process. We'll have Robert start. We'll have Ashley come in with, she'll see what you set up. She'll say, let's see, what did Robert not mention? That might be a bomb that could come in and blow this up. And so
I don't know Robert's opinion. This is what I will say, though. I thought that this race was pretty wide open.
We're back to where we started last week, right? With the claiming handicap 10 to 12 claimers. Yeah. And I mean, last time we saw that, remember EL Wild Spirit showed no speed in his last 8 months and decided to go to the front end and just gas them. He's back in here again today with an outside post. And we saw last week how unpredictable it is when he went to the front. So again, very wide open event again here with these, lower end claimers for the circuit. And it produced, 3-1 winner last time, but certainly one that we didn't see going that trip. So I think today could be, there could be some interesting ones in here, we'll say.
Since we do have a decent amount of time, I don't want to change up our flow too much, but what we typically do this time of the night is that we kind of do a little bit of a look ahead, so that once the races end here, once they're over on Racing Night Live on TSN, and once Woodbine Live ends here, you still have some action to look forward to later in the night. So, Robert, do you want to give us a late sequence that we should focus on?
Sure. We'll go to. If you wanted to, let's go to the ticket that I mapped out for the show, first of all, on the broadcast, which starts in race number 8.
Okay.
Okay, it's the late pick 4. And, the theme that we've had kind of, every single week is a single in the last. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're going to go again. We're going to single the last. And I think it's the most probable winner on the card. The horse will not offer much of a price, but I think that's where you single and you look for prices leading up to it. And, starting in race number 8, I'm going with the 4, 5, 6, and 7. My top pick is number 7, Proline. It's a horse I've been waiting for quite a while now. It was scheduled to make his lifetime debut on July the 6th. I absolutely loved his qualifier on June the 20th. He had 2 scratches, July 6th and July 31st, and then qualified again on August 1st and qualified pretty well again, but all the way down in Sarnia. So making his debut tonight, I really think this one, if he's ready to roll up first asking, the scratches kind of worry me a little bit, but we're going to roll with the 4, 5, 6, and 7 in there. He is my top pick. I think the 1 and the 2 are both going to take money, and we're going to leave them off because if we go, too deep, get 6 deep, then we might as well go with an all, as you guys would say. So I'm going to stick with the 4, 5, 6, and 7, and I think we might get a bit of a price down in one of those. And then going to race number 9, which is the second leg of the Pure Ivory. We're going to go to one that we actually saw last time. So we saw 2 legs of this on July 23rd. And I really like Ad Astra. That's my top pick. Sat a good trip last time. Tried to come up the inside late. Was beat by a much better horse than Descentra. We saw Descentra just destroy gold competition in her last effort. So I really like Ad Astra tonight, getting Jody Jamieson in the absence of Chris Christoforou. And the horse that I'm also using there that I think might be a bit of a price is Serenity Joy. This was one that one of our viewers pointed out last time at 47-1. And the horse went a huge mile first over. I think this horse has a big shot tonight. Any kind of a better trip than what she got last time, and she can click and win at what hopefully will be about 4 or 5, maybe even 6-1. And again, we're leaving out some logical horses. The 2, 3, and 6 all figure to take money, but we're going to leave them out and just side with the 4 and 5. To race number 10, which I think is another race that could produce a bit of a price. We're going to go with the 1, 2, 3, and 8. With number 3, Cutting Class, being my top pick. And I just think that this one could improve, vastly tonight, moving into maiden company, non-winners of 1 or 8,000, and out of the grassroots races, where last time he hooked up with Twin B French Toast, who would absolutely destroy this field. So he gets my top call. 5-1 in the morning line might offer a bit of a price. I also like the 8 as a bit of hopefully a longer one from the outside with Lyle MacArthur. Horse was lights out last time at Georgian Downs. Repeats anything close to that tonight, it'll be really tough to beat. So that's one that I think you want to have on your tickets if you want to have a knockout play from the outside. And then finishing off in race number 11, I don't think they can beat Aneto tonight, number 6. The horse is going to take a ton of action. This is non-winners of 2 or 15,000 life. This horse is coming into the gold and racing against Tattoo Artists in a race that last time went in 149-1. This colt paced in 150-2. There's not a horse in here that can do that. And prior to that, back-to-back solid efforts and non-winners of 3 or 50,000. You guys can see the margin there. This is non-winners of 2 or 15,000. It's a monumental class drop. I can't imagine this horse will even be close to even money, but I don't think there's any way they can touch him tonight. 0 for 7 this year. Maybe we're a little bit concerned this horse isn't the winning type, but let me tell you, this is just a huge drop in class, and I think Jody Jamieson's going to send him down the road tonight, and I don't see anyone catching him.
All right. The singles have been good. We know that much. The singles have been there week after week after week. We just need to get a little lucky on some of these legs underneath. And, I think you laid out pretty well here which legs are a little more open. And so if you have a hunch, you got some feelings on how that's going to turn out. You could certainly spread a little bit more than Robert has here. But you see his ticket there on the screen. And we would also invite you to, chime in with your opinions, with your picks. Let us know how you're playing the late sequence here. For now, Ashley has been on a killer streak here, a little bit of a heater. We'll see if she can continue it in race 3. Now she's going to make us wait for it. Now she's not even. Well, she's not even going to acknowledge us anymore.
Sure, but I can go. To me, it came down to the 2 and 8 as the top picks in here. The 2 is Empty the Till. Second last time out was at the same sort of level. Thought this horse, paced home pretty strong, 28, respectable. And then 2 starts back, you're looking at that $8,000 claimer. Won that one by a neck. So I like this horse. I think this horse benefits from having that inside post because in those last 2, it's worked out well. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of gate speed, but he's okay. He'll be in a fine position. I'm not surprised that he's the favorite. The 8's the other one we talked about, EL Wild Spirit on the last show as well. I mean, this is one that had that bad post. Louis Philippe Roy just got this horse out, and it was basically done from there. There wasn't really much of a race as far as horses getting close to this one. So I think they're going to have to do the same thing today because if you look at the effort, 2 back here had that 8 post. That didn't work out. I mean, the horse still came with a late rally, but I think to win, you're going to have to do something similar to that most recent trip. But that's at least how I see it kind of panning out. Horse that I liked a little bit at a price is 8-1 right now. I like the 7 Fernhill Breeze. So last effort had the 6 post, far back early on, pretty far back to be honest, and then made up a ton of ground, 27 and 3, which is I think one of the faster back panels that you'll see from this field. Missed by 3/4 of a length. I just thought that was a pretty good effort. And looking at the other races before that, this one's pretty consistent. It did have a poor effort about 4 starts back in June, but kind of looking at that race and how it shaped up, didn't really shape up too nicely for him. So that's probably my biggest price on the board right now. Actually just dropped while I was talking. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else. A horse that's interesting. Definitely didn't perform well last time out and didn't take any play. If I were to play a super, I would use the second longest shot on the board for 4th. I would use the 6. I want to give this horse another shot at Woodbine. I didn't really love the effort last time out. This one, though, was really far back. Had the 5 post, but was shuffled very far back. Still came up with like a mild rally. You're seeing that back panel again, 27 and 4. It didn't take any respect, 32 to 1 that day. So that's a horse that I would use for maybe 4th in here to try to get a big price. You can even see Chad Rosemount likes this one. And I think in this spot you could upgrade this horse. I mean, we always talk about kind of comparing it. I know, Dan, this is something that I'm still trying to get better with from the harness standpoint, is saying when you look at a race in a condition at Saratoga harness track, where does that sit here? I think, the Canadian tracks, just because for me personally, I've been to a lot of harness tracks in Canada, or a decent amount because they're closer, some of them. I have a better grasp on that than to Saratoga harness, but to figure out where the conditions, we all know that a maiden special weight at Tampa isn't the same as a maiden special weight at Saratoga. They're both maiden special weights, but the level is going to be different. So that's something that I'm trying to learn a little bit more. But this horse was 10-1 morning line and is floated up to 22-1, which I think is a really big price on a horse that probably should be around the morning line.
Yeah, I listen. I agree. I like this horse. I put this horse in the 3rd spot as well. I went with 2 Empty the Till. I agree. Last time, this horse didn't really look like he was offering too much, and he got really racy with when Fernhill Breeze came to his outside. He decided to pick it up again, and it looked like he was racing that horse to the wire, and that's what brought him back to life. And he just missed by half a length. So I like Empty the Till. First time off the claim for Amanda Fine. She's got a 300 Universal Trainer rating, 8 wins and 40 starts this year. I think that this horse could step up in a big way tonight. I go to the 3 Section Line Rock for 2nd at 19-1. First start for Carmen Osiello. First time Lasix as well. Moving over from definitely moving up in class. There's no question about that. At least from the claimers at Sarnia. But I think that Carm can move this horse up enough to be competitive in here. 20-1 is definitely full value there. The 6 View Courage off the claim to Patrick Shepherd. So you see the theme here, guys. The 3 horses that I put in my top 3 are all off the claim. The 6 View Courage, first time Lasix off the claim. Those races at Sarnia would make this horse, more than competitive here. And last time, this horse got spun to the parking lot and had absolutely no chance whatsoever. I really think that, Ashley is onto something here. At 23-1, this horse should be on your tickets, definitely in the bottom spots of the tries and the supers, if not higher. And then I got the 8 EL Wild Spirit, that pesky horse that beat us last time, went to the top and just crashed all of our hopes and dreams by finding some speed for the first time in 7 months. But I think you can't ignore that horse. But here's the thing, guys. The 4 choreographer, 5-2 right now, 12-1 morning line, 21-1 last time, finished a decent third. This horse did have an equipment change to take note of. The hopples were actually being extended by an inch or maybe even more than that, which means that the trainer thinks this horse can stride out more. And if that has been preventing him in the past from reaching full stride, we could see a big improvement. Again, the money is telling us and screaming at us that the 4 is the horse in here.
Yeah.
I did take notice of that equipment change, but at the same time, I'm not really, in love with the horse off his form. So for me, it's 2, 3, 6, 8, and now I'll throw the 4 into the 2-1 now. I mean, I guess we're throwing this horse out at our own peril because the board is just screaming at us that choreographer is going to just crush them, because I did not see that coming. The lowest price this horse has
Robert's already
been
given up.
on the page is 21-1, 28-1, 92-1, 101-1, 2-1 tonight. And guys, off the claim again. So let's see. We'll see what happens here. He looks like he's going right down the road as well. He's leaving off the gate, and he's going to be forwardly placed by Bob McClure. This will be very interesting. And look at Butte Courage, though, landing the 2-hole right now, 24-1. So that's promising. And EL Wild Spirit forgot his running shoes this week, and he's going to drop in 6th after somehow wiring them last week. Let's see. 26-3 had something to do with it.
I went in and put the saver in with the 4 over all your horses. So hopefully,
I mean, again, going off of 5-2 in the end. Again, the board's screaming at us. This horse, I mean, he just went 26-3 to the quarter, so he's gonna have to be really well meant to last these fractions. But you got to be happy with where the 6 is sitting right now. 54 and is that 54-3 to the half? I mean, they're rolling. As Ken just said, a punishing first half tempo, and it looks like Dougie's got some horse in the 2-hole to 6. And our 2 horses in the 3-hole, but this horse does not look like he's showing any signs of slowing down just yet. Here comes Empty the Till out of the 3-hole, and it looks like that is EL Wild Spirit rolling wide. But
he looks good.
Yeah, I mean, again, guys, the board was just screaming at us, and the 6 gonna make a race of it, though. Here comes Butte Courage. Listen, we talked about this horse, 24-1. We both talked about this horse and the winner at this incredible price in this horse.
Unbelievable.
And right now, I am absolutely sick. I did not use Logan Park in my pick 5 because this horse is on every one of my pick 5 tickets.
Look at Ashley's smile. Ashley just hit.
I had some win money.
That's a huge price. It's an incredible price on this horse.
24-1. Yeah, I had this horse underneath. The 4 with all the other horses. But yeah, I mean, this was the price you both had. So hopefully anybody listening and who's a better listener than I am, use that horse, because you both said this was the long shot play in the race. Incredible to catch this horse late, who was obviously, the 4 horse took all the money and was supposed to win, but probably went a touch too fast early.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this horse was attending a hot pace too, so he was full marks for the effort. And I mean, this exacta is $246. Just again, monster price. And right now, I am really regretting not using Logan Park in my pick 5.
We should all just send our money to Ashley and just have her.
I know. I should.
I
should have consulted with her before I got my pick 5s tonight, because right now I'd be set up for a real nice ticket with Butte Courage getting the job done.
This is kind of the betting blunder, right? So I like this horse as a price. I endorse him underneath, but when I see a price like that, I put some win money on there. Yeah. But not having full confidence in him, the try that I punched completely backwards. I use these 4 horses on the try. I mentioned I also, liked the 7 a little bit. So I used the 7 underneath as well. But, this is a really nice try because the 8 to 5's out of it. And, we talked about it. I actually used just the 4 I used some other horses, but the only spot that I used the 4 was in the second spot because this was a horse that we didn't talk about. We didn't really love. But when you see the board kind of speak like that, it kind of changes your mind. So I'm like, okay, well, if this horse wins, I didn't like the horse to begin with, so I'm not going to use him there. I'm going to use him in the second spot. But did not use my my long shot on top because I wasn't sure, but at a price to make a win bet, I mean, you can make a $5 win bet here and be quite content with your return on it for having a horse that, okay, if he runs third, I lost $5. If he wins, I'm okay with the return. Like it's good money. So,
$130.
Yeah. So it just depends how you want to, structure your tickets. This is where the battle comes in.
So this horse is 11 years old, and he just dropped his lifetime mark by just 6 seconds. He just went out and paced in 1:50.3. So he just improved his lifetime mark by 6 seconds.
Well, I mean, what is that all about? I mean, like, and I have another question for you. But first of all, what is that? I mean, how does that happen?
Well, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, moving to the big track helps. So last time he did pace in 54.3, but he didn't win, so that doesn't go down as a mark. And moving to Patrick Shepard. Patrick Shepard is a high percentage trainer. You can see this year he's batting about 200, but that's at 409 starts. So he starts a lot of horses. Has been razor sharp off the claim in the past. And Doug McNair is Dougie's one of the best drivers in the world. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. And you saw today a horse that last time in this same class gets away 9th, beat 18 at the quarter, is attending the pace in what was it, 26 and change. So obviously the pace helps. The hot pace helps to set the time, but it wasn't like this horse came from out of it. This horse was attending it in the 2-hole. So just a huge effort all around from Butte Courage. And I mean, first time Lasix, probably also a factor as well.
For what it's worth, I used the horse on my pick 5, but I got knocked out last leg, so it doesn't really matter.
$322.90 left. I just Ashley, send me the memo next time on Logan Park.
Sorry. That was actually probably for me, like the horse that I looked at that race, and if anyone handicapped that race, no matter what, you knew that the 6 was going to be heavily favored. And we've talked about this on the show. I mean, I would say from the weeks we've done this, 50% of the time we've seen that favorite win, and 25% of the time the favorites run second, and the other 25% we've even seen horses go off stride. So it's tough. And we always talk about it. I think sometimes, and at least from my experience between here now and the Meadowlands these last 2 months, these baby races are really they're difficult. They're super difficult to handicap, and I think that's a point where if you're going to go for a price, that's a good spot to do it, but you still have to kind of read the board as well.
Yeah.
All right. We've got 2 minutes left. I was going to ask you guys about something that Robert mentioned, a universal trainer rating, but let's wait till next week for that. I want to know more about that. With 2 minutes left, I'm going to kick it back to Ashley real quick because she's got some more action coming up tonight. It's not the end of the night for her. Let us know what's going on tonight, and what else you got going on this weekend, Ashley?
Yeah, so tonight, starting about 10:15, is Betting After Dark with Anita Marks. So we're back at Saratoga this week to cover the Travers. We're also going to look at 3 other stakes races. There's 4 other stakes races on the undercard. We're going to cover 3 of them: the Troy, the Test. What else am I missing, producer? Troy, Test,
I've got to look at my notes. Yeah, the Ballerina and the Weah. You doing the Weah?
We're not doing the Weah. No, I think those are the stakes we're doing then.
You're doing the Travers. Did you say that?
Yeah, I said Travers. We got that one. So we're not doing the Weah. We're doing the other stakes races. And then obviously this Saturday is loaded for both thoroughbred and standardbred lovers. So the Meadowlands will be a day card because it's the Hambletonian. So the big storyline there is going to be Ramona Hill and Ready for Money. The big reason with Ramona Hill probably taking more of the storyline there is she's a filly going against the boys. Her connections, the 2 owners for her, they had a discussion with Tony Alanya, and they decided that they were going to pursue the Hambletonian over the Hambletonian Oaks. And, if you watch the show and you're kind of interested in harness racing, but you don't know a lot, one thing I can tell you is if you rewatch the eliminations from last week and you watch Ramona Hill's elimination win, it's one of the most impressive things I've seen. She had a horrible trip, had a horrible post once again, and she was flying home and was still much the best in the end. So hopefully we'll have a good outcome for her this weekend. So yeah, I'll be at the Meadowlands.
Is she the midnight Bizou of harness racing?
You know what? She was a bit of an upset last year, and Robert can tell you this in the Breeders' Crown. And once again, she had a bad post, and post position has been really, really bad for her all year long. And then they've been able to kind of manage the trips from the bad post, but I will say Andy McCarthy, it didn't work out for him last time necessarily from a trip. I mean, he still won it. It worked out in the end, but early on, I mean, this filly had a lot of traffic problems. It looked like she was never going to get by anyone, and she was last. So to see such a huge move, I mean, I've never seen a horse kind of accelerate like that. So hopefully that didn't take too much out of her, and I'd love to see her win. I've kind of loved her since last year. So also it's a girl going against the boys. So I have that, female power thing going too.
Well, again, if tonight is indicative of the way it usually goes, Ashley kicking butt all night long on this show. And it'll hopefully continue tonight. Betting After Dark, as you heard Ashley mentioned, at Anita Marks on Twitter. You could also catch that on ABR's Facebook and YouTube channels. Also, tomorrow, La Trifecta, a new multilingual racing show presented by ABR, featuring Darwin Vizcaya, Claudia Spadaro, and Anise Montplaisir. At 7 o'clock Eastern, be previewing some of the races this weekend at Saratoga as well. And then Saturday, Breeders' Cup Live on the Breeders' Cup and ABR social media channels. I'll be hosting that with Ren Carruthers, Bram Weinstein, and Matt Bernier. And then next week, we're back here on Thursday night for Woodbine Live, starting at 6 o'clock. We do it all over again. And we have a special show next Saturday as well. It's a Woodbine Oaks Saturday special show. We'll have a bunch of different guests checking in from Woodbine. If you want to see Robert next Thursday, this is the place where he comes with his picks, with his selections every week. And of course, every night they race at Mohawk. You can find them in the Horse Players Journal in the Woodbine program. Robert, where else can people find you before we sign off?
Well, so you can get a free program every race night at woodbine.com/Mohawk. As an icon says free program. You'll get all the PPs for free and get my Horse Players Journal. And of course, hit me up on Twitter at Robert Reid Jr. It's easy. Just my name. Hit me up. Talk about horse racing. Talk about sports cards even too, or wrestling. Rocking the Macho Man shirt today. I love it, Dan. But yeah, hit me up anytime with questions about harness racing. Love that side of the sport. Love the thoroughbreds too, but for myself, I've gravitated towards it my whole life. And you can see tonight, View Courage. We were all over the horse. $50 winner. There's money to be made in the harness game, so hit me up and check it out.
Absolutely. All right, same time, same place next week. We'll see you.